ボスから新しい指示が来ている。アバキオ、ここの椅子のところに来てくれないか。
俺？
指令の内容だ。
アバッキオのムーディーブルースをダイニングチェアのそばにて14時間以上巻き戻せ。
俺たちが入る前に誰かがこの亀の中に入っていたということなんじゃないか。
分かった。じゃあ15時間あたりからサーチするぜ。変身したぞ。
あれ、このじじい見たことあるぞ。
幹部のペリーコロさんだ。ネアポリス駅の水飲み場に亀を置いたのは彼だったようだな。
そして約14時間前、この亀の中に入ってきた。リプレイするぞ。
ブチャラティとそのチームよ、君たちに最後の指令を伝える。
最後だと？
こんな方法でメッセージを伝えるのは情報漏洩を防ぐためであり、最も重要で絶対に誰にも知られてはならない。ボスへのトリッシュの引き渡し方法を述べるからだ。
引き渡し方法？
それでは言う。ベネツィアに無事着いたら、この彫刻のところへ行き、像の中の OA ディスクを手に入れよ。その中に受け渡し場所のデータが入力されている。
火を！
アバキオ、ポーズしろ。確かここはベネツィアの入り口、サンタルチア駅前。そこのライオン像だ。
以上だ。必ず OA ディスクを手に入れよ。わしのことはもうバレてしまっている。どうやって安全にトリッシュが父親のボスと会うのか。最も重要なのはその点だ。何一つ証拠は残せない。ボスのおかげでわしは十分に充実した実り豊かな人生を楽しませてもらったよ。これでわしの任務は終わりだ。君たちの無事を心から願っておるよ。
なんだと！
ペリーコロさん。
バカな。バカな！畜生！そんなバカな！早く直せよ、ジョルノ！早く直せって言ってんだぜ！蹴り入れるぜ、この野郎！
一瞬だ。至近距離であっという間に起こっている。遅かった。遅かった。アバッキオともあろう者がなぜこれほどまでに近づけてしまったのか。
ミスター、トリッシュを亀の中から出すな。敵は次にトリッシュにとどめを刺そうと攻撃してくるだろう。この場は直ちに去らなくてはならない。俺の責任だ。この場所からはもうボスの手がかりはつかめない。
何言ってんだよ、ブチャラティ。今アバキは目覚める途中だってばよ。時間がかかってるだけだって。少し待てば起きるって。そうだよな、ジョルノ。前もそうだったよな。おい、
くどいぞナランチャー。ここは危険なのだ。お前はエアロスミスを出して周囲を警戒しろ。
何言ってんだよ、ブチャラティ。何言ってんだよ。俺は敵が来るならここでやってやるぜ。近くにいるなら迎え撃ってやるぜ、ミスター。なあ、ジョルノ。おい、ミスター。
行かなくては。ナランちゃん、ブチャラティの言う通り。
なんだと？なんだと！ジョルノ、てめえが手抜きしてんじゃねえのか、この野郎。蘇らせろ。根性入れてやりやがれ、この野郎。
もうやめろ、ナランちゃん。ナランちゃん。
アバッキオ。ここに置いていくのかよ、ブザーティ。アバッキオを一人も ちで置いていくのかよ。置いていくなんて俺は嫌だよ。
これは命令だ、ナランちゃん。アバッキオも覚悟の上ここに来たのだ。出発するぞ。
待って、ブゼラティ。
これはブチャルテ、まだ少し。これには何か意味がある。何か握ってるぞ。なんだ。どこかの岩の破片みたいだ。意味を感じる。ゴールドエクスペリエンス。元のところに帰る。おい見ろよ。どうやらアバッキオはリプレイを終了してたみたいだな。
これはデスマスクだ。リプレイのデスマスク。アバキオのムーディーブルースが口行く前に最後のスタンドエネルギーで変身した顔の形を赤面に押し付けたのだ。アバキオは最後に残してくれていた。これがボスの素顔だ。
アバッキオ、お前は立派にやったのだ。そしてお前の真実に向かおうとする意志は後の者たちが感じ取ってくれているさ。大切なのはそこなんだからな。
ボスの存在をなぜ感じないのか全然わからない。どこにも感じない。
どくんだ。僕お前邪魔だ。そこをどいてくれ。
こんなことが絶対にありえん。周りを見張れ、ミスター。周囲を見張るのだ。
鉄格子を切断しろ、ベタルティ。早くナランちゃんを下ろすんだ。
任せろミスター。僕に任せるんだ。
お前は弾丸を込めろ、ミスター。また来るぞ。奴の攻撃はすでに始まっていた。スティッキーフィンガーズ。
手当てを。傷から早く鉄格子を抜け。コロッセオの外の一般人が目覚め始めている。どこ？全然感じなかったわ、ボスの存在を。わからなくなってきた。なぜあの存在は出たり消えたりするの？
キングクリムゾンの射程はせいぜい 2,3 メートルなのに、どうやって奴はあそこから。おい、やったぞ。気がついたぞ、ナランちゃん。やった。危なかった。
違うんだミスター。これは空洞なんだ。空洞だ。貫かれた傷は完璧に僕のゴールドエクスペリエンスが治した。だがすでにいないんだ。ナランチャはもうどこにも空っぽなんだ。魂は行ってしまった。もういないんだ。どうやってももうダメなんだ。間に合わなかった。僕が体の中に入れてしまうぐらい、お互いの体を行き来できるくらい、すでに空洞なんだ。
あとはジョルノ任せたぞ。
ブチャラティ、あんたの体は今コロッセオにあるあの体は。
ジョルノ、俺は生き返ったんだ。故郷ネアポリスでお前と出会った時、組織を裏切った時にな。ゆっくりと死んでいくだけだった俺の心は生き返ったんだ。お前のおかげでな。幸福というのはこういうことだ。これでいい。気にするな。みんなによろしくと言っておいてくれ。
よくもこんな取るに足らない小娘のためにこの便器に吐き出されたタンカスどもがこの私に対して矢を支配するのはこのディアボロ
だ。やったぜ。さすがブチャラティ。かなり際どかったがトリッシュはこれで助かるぜ。ジョルノ、手当てを。ブチャラティは今コロッセオだがすぐここに来るだろうしよ。な、おい。
気にするな、ジョルノ。そうなるべきだったところに戻るだけなんだ。元に戻るだけ。ただ元に。
There was a radio on, tuned to a program called Inside Classical Music. It was playing the sweet canzone of Ti voglio bene assai by Donizetti. He coughed again. This was a restaurant, but he was unable to eat anything. The virus had died out in an instant, but had rampaged through his mouth, damaging it badly, and the inner layer of his respiratory tract had been peeled away, left in tatters. He was unable to swallow anything, and had been living on an IV for the past week. The stitches sealing the wound in his side had yet to be removed either. Even in this condition, Passione had seen fit to summon him. He was finally going to be dealt with. He had, at least, carried out his orders successfully, but how they would have viewed those results, he couldn't begin to say. He was not told who would be meeting him. Perhaps no one was coming at all, and he would simply receive a message. He tried to repress his cough, but wasn't entirely successful. There was blood in the cuff, and he tried to take out his handkerchief to wipe it, but his fingers shook so much he dropped it. Damn it. He bent over to pick it up. Then, over the sound of the radio, he heard a small clink, the sound of a fork touching a plate. He turned to look. Without his noticing, another customer had arrived and was sitting at his table. There was a plate in front of him and he had a fork buried in the food. It was a boy with curly blonde hair and a brooch shaped like a ladybug. Fugo knew the boy, but not very well. He had only worked with the boy for 3 days. But this boy was not the kind one could forget. There was an aura to him, a mix of darkness and light that made an enduring impression. The boy looked down at Fugo, frozen halfway to the handkerchief.
"It's the damnedest thing," he grumbled. "The chef here is incredible, but for some reason he insists on serving me chicken and duck. I've never been a fan of fowl, but he keeps saying I haven't lived till I've had this succulent meat, even though the octopus salad here is to die for."
He pushed the food around his plate with the fork.
"I didn't order this roasted chicken and potato dish, but he insisted on serving it anyway. And if I don't eat it, he'll be furious. It smells good, don't you think? Then again, you always liked chicken."
Fugo blinked. A few seconds ago, the blood in his throat had overwhelmed all other scents, but now he could clearly make out the rich scent of garlic and onion sautéed in olive oil. He put his hand to his mouth. The throbbing pain of a few moments ago was completely gone. Even the teeth he'd lost were back in place.
"This is..."
The handkerchief at his feet was balled up. He picked it up and unrolled it, and found brown threads in it, the stitches that had been holding his side together. All the aches and pains in his body were gone. He'd been completely healed.
"This is his stand."
Control over life. That was the power of the boy's gold experience. He had no idea what had been done or when. The gulf between their powers was so immense they barely existed in the same world. Stunned, he looked up. The boy lifted the fork to his mouth and chewed a few times, making a face.
"I suppose it tastes okay, but I'm just not a fan. Bad experiences in early childhood, I suppose. I remember my mother never serving anything for dinner but yakitori. You know what that is? Japanese food, cooked on skewers, designed to snack on while drinking beer. You impale the meat on sharp little sticks. Not exactly safe for small children, is it? Painful memories, I tell you. They tell me that it helped me to grow, but it's hard to see. Can you sympathize at all? And I just don't really like greasy food. It's like a sponge soaked in oil."
For all his protests, the boy was shoveling the food away.
"Jordan,"
Fugo started, then stopped. He wasn't sure what to call him. Boss?
"Oh, right. Do me a favor and call me Jojo,"
the boy said.
"Boss was Diavolo's title, and we're trying to change things up around here. Jojo flows off the tongue nicely, don't you think?"
But it seemed much more familiar than calling him by his name. Fugo wasn't sure what to do. Giorno Giovanna. He couldn't read this boy.
"So, Fugo,
You must have a lot of questions, Giorno said, putting his fork down and wiping his mouth with a napkin.
And it's my job to answer them, so ask away."
"Well, he stammered. The song on the radio had changed. The Donizetti song had ended and a new voice emerged. Fugo gaped at the radio. He knew that voice. This was the voice that had rudely said, "It's not like I want to see you naked or anything," the first time he'd met her. The song was O Soldato Namorato, the soldier in love, a song based on the thoughts of a young soldier in the First World War towards his lover back home.
It was a little forlorn, yet oddly cheery, with a march-like strength to it. Sung by a young female voice, it had a beautiful purity to it that soared above the accompaniment. When the song ended, the host began interviewing her.
"Well, it's a pleasure to have you here in the studio. Let me introduce you to our listeners. This is Trish Una, a promising new star."
Hello, everyone.
"Now, Trish, you've been touring successfully, and I hear you've got an album coming soon."
Well, I couldn't have done it without my fans.
"You've been on stage your whole life, I hear? You and your mother together."
Yes, she passed away recently, which was hard. I'm finally getting better.
"And I heard you disappeared for a while. Your manager must have taken quite a fright."
Well, I can't apologize enough for that. I was on a journey. Naples and Rome and Venice.
just soaking in the sights.
And that was how you grieved?
Yes, and through the help of some good friends, I was able to pull through.
Well, thank heaven for good friends.
I'd be lost without them. I owe them a debt I can never repay.
And I hope that our listeners will support you in kind. Coming up next, we've got a special on the... Another song started playing, but Fugo heard none of it. While he stood there stunned, Giorno reached for the pitcher of water and began refilling his glass.
In Venice, you said we didn't even know what kind of music she liked, and now you do.
He raised the glass to his lips, took a sip, and put it back on the table.
We didn't help her with this, you know. We don't do that anymore. She got the recording contract on her own merits.
Fugo turned towards him, but kept his head down, not meeting Giorno's eye.
Yes?
Why me? You sent me on a critical mission. Sheila E. and Murola were one thing, but what reason was there to send me?
Fugo hesitated.
I'm a traitor. You can't trust me.
Giorno took another sip.
That is your worst trait,
he said. Fugo stiffened.
Giorno nodded. You don't believe what you just said. Not for a second. You don't believe you betrayed anyone. In fact, you feel very certain that Buccellati betrayed you. You imagine we see you as a traitor, and you voice that notion preemptively, even though you don't believe it. That's what you did that day, too. Everything you said was simply a reflection of what mob culture deemed common sense. None of it reflected your own emotions. You just echoed the consensus view.
But Giorno was looking right at him. His gaze was painful.
Deep down, you despise that common sense. Otherwise, why would you ever hit a teacher with a dictionary? In the bottom of your heart, the fact that other people don't believe what you believe infuriates you. That's why you suddenly snap at people over nothing. That's your nature.
Without realizing it, Fugo was shivering, like someone was holding ice in direct contact with every inch of his skin. Giorno kept talking.
We once fought an enemy called Notorious B.I.G. This was after you left the team, so you wouldn't know, but he was unique.
Giorno folded his arms, frowning in thought.
This was an enemy whose true power only activated after the stand's owner died. He was powered by hatred his owner felt at the moment of death, and no longer needed the human to think for him. Since he was already dead, he couldn't be killed, and all attacks were useless. After we fought him, I thought to myself, I've seen this before. Exactly. Purple Haze. Your stand is also fueled by hate, but your virus can kill you as well, regardless of what you want. You were incredibly fortunate not to die the first time you ever used your stand. Most people would have died long ago. You spoke as if there was no reason for me to pick you, but it's the other way around. You were my problem. The rest was secondary. Dealing with you came first. It would have been easy to kill you, but what if we killed you and Purple Haze didn't die? If your stand was unleashed upon the world, we'd have no way to fight it. The world would end.
The thought was terrifying, and Fugo listened, stunned. Yet Giorno's tone remained perfectly calm.
Only one person could do something about that. You, Panacotta Fugo, the only person who can change your stand, is you. Could you overcome your own fear and hatred for your own virus? I gambled everything on that. I couldn't force it. You had to do it yourself, make up your own mind. The only thing that ever worried me was whether you could do that. But I didn't worry much.
And why not?
Fugo said, looking up.
I didn't know you well, so it was hard for me to judge. But Buccellati trusted you, and I trusted Buccellati. So there was no reason to worry.
Giorno was looking right into his eyes. Fugo couldn't look away.
The other thing I was concerned about was Sheila E. Working with her, I'm sure you noticed, but she has a tendency to punish herself, choosing to place herself in danger, trying to sacrifice herself for a good cause, but that's not what true resolve is. She needs the courage to retreat. I was hoping she would learn that, working with someone as careful as you. Whether she did, remains to be seen.
Courage.
He remembered Kokaki had used that word.
You know so little, Fugo. Everything you think you know is shallow knowledge, only scratching the surface. You know nothing of courage, nothing of the strength men find when they cast aside their ego to live. Men without courage are like fleas, doomed to be slapped to death when they try to suck the blood of humans.
The man had been right. Fugo hadn't known anything. Seeing the look on his face, Giorno nodded.
That is a goal all humans share, to learn what courage means to you. It is our role as humans to search for that answer our entire lives. It's like a door. As long as you don't open it, you'll never find your way. You're standing in front of that door now. You finally made it here. The rest is up to you. There's something I need to return to you.
Giorno motioned towards the table. Fugo looked down and saw an envelope. He opened it. There was a photo inside.
He gulped. It was the photo they'd taken in front of the lagoon, Buccellati's yacht. A picture of the whole team standing in the sunlight. Fugo's expression indecisive. Buccellati's somewhat embarrassed. Nista and Narancia grinning from ear to ear, and Abbacchio stoic. They were all so full of hope that day. Staring at the picture, Fugo found himself shaking again. He lost his grip on the picture and dropped it. Giorno chose that moment to speak. What do you say, Panacotta Fugo? Will you lend me your talents again? I have a dream, and I need friends to help me with that dream. Giorno held out his hand. That hand seemed like a symbol of hope, like all his sins would be forgiven if he took it. Fugo's entire body was shaking. This was his third choice. The first time he'd joined. The second he'd left. And now he was silent. He sat in silence for a long moment, his head down. Then drops started falling on his lap. He was crying. Tears streamed out of both eyes. He couldn't go, couldn't move forward, couldn't take a single step. He sobbed. What's wrong? Giorno asked gently. Fugo could not look up. He could only think, why am I here? Not Buccellati. Why am I the one swearing fealty to you instead of him? It would be so much easier then, if Buccellati was swearing fealty, and I was standing behind him, watching. That would be so simple. He was sure everyone would have something to say. He could almost hear them. Huh? What's going on? Giorno's younger than you. Oh, but wait, Buccellati's older than me, so... screw it. It's all good. I can't say it sits entirely well with me, but if Buccellati's cool with it, then I'll follow. I'm calling this right now. I won't be fourth in command. Then they'd all laugh. Fugo could almost see them. They seemed much more real than he did. Yet none of them were here. Only he was, and he could not accept that. He couldn't stop his tears. Why? Why was he suddenly crying after all this time? If he was going to cry now, why hadn't he gone with them? This was beyond regret. What he'd missed was too big and would never come back. Giorno was standing before him. His shadow fell on Fugo. Fugo looked up. Giorno looked him right in the eye. Half a step, he said. If you can't take a step forward, then I'll step halfway to you. Everything hinges on your decision, but if grief anchors your feet, then let me share it. Fugo felt as if he had just now understood, for the first time, why Buccellati had decided to put his life in this boy's hands. He felt this, not in his head, but in his heart. Joe. His legs shaking, nearly crumpling, he leaned forward. He fell to one knee, but he grabbed hold of Giorno's hand. Giorno spoke softly. All we can do for those we've lost is move forward. That is our duty. Not to destroy everything we don't care for like some petty god, but walk painfully forward, relying on whatever we can, even the feeble light of a star. Fugo had stopped shaking. He leaned his face close to the hand he was clutching, placed his lips on it, and spoke. As long as I live, I serve your dream. Please, accept my body, my heart, and my soul. That is my hope, and that is my future.
His face was clear, his oath was true.
I am yours, our Jojo.
Beyond the sunlight streaming through the curtains, bells sounded, signaling the start of the day.